Hey, what's going on, guys? So I got some really exciting packages here that I want to open up for you guys and share a little bit about what's in this box, which I will in just a little bit. But I'll start off by saying I've invested pretty heavily in the Sony system in the last year and a half, 2 years. So much that I even got this. So this is my, I don't know if you can see that. This is my Sony A1 rigged up with an Atmos Ninja 5. And this is just one of my Sony cameras. I also have an FX3, an A7S3, an A7C. So I got a good amount of Sony cameras. And as you can see behind me here, a few of Sony lenses. But for the longest time, I had this like internal struggle where I've said to myself, Luis, what are you doing? Like, you have no business owning a Sony A1. It's just too much of a camera for you to manage right now. And I 100% agree. Like, I've always just believed like, yeah, this camera is just way too much for me. I just bought it because, you know, there's just so much hype and it's such a great camera and I wanted to, you know, own it, right? Throughout the time using it, I've really enjoyed it. But there are some things about it that kind of make me question the purchase or not. And so I will just say right off the bat that I love the video and the colors that are coming off the Sony A1. I think I don't know, I feel like every time they kind of change the color science a little bit. And, you know, the colors that you get off the A1 are really different from what you get off the FX3 or the 7S3. And I just really love the 8K footage off there, you know, like the colors, as I mentioned. And the images, man, I just haven't been able to figure it out. Like, there's a lot of the times where I take a photo and it looks really great. I love the colors that are coming off of that as well. But then there's other times where I'll take a photo and, you know, it looks very grainy. Like, even when the ISO is not that high, I'm talking about 2000, 3000 ISO, like the shots look very grainy, and, you know, it's kind of left me wanting for more and asking myself, like, is that how it's supposed to be, or is there just maybe a setting that I have wrong, or is it just that's just the way the camera is? So I've kind of gotten to this point where it kind of left me searching for more, right? And I asked myself, could I ultimately invest this money elsewhere and then get something more, right? And so right now I mainly use the A1 for a lot of what I do, but I do have, as I mentioned, the FX3 and the A7S3. I am not really fond of the colors that I get off of those cameras, so I don't really use them as much. Our business, when we go off on a shoot for business, our production team will take those and they'll use those for those shoots. But for me on a personal level and doing these videos and just doing, like, you know, stuff around for my family and different things like that as a hobby, you know, I've kind of asked myself, like, could I ultimately get what I really want off of Canon? And so for the longest time, I've had this internal struggle of like, man, is Canon better? Like, is Canon, you know, gonna get me what I want out of these cameras? And so, you know, there's a lot of debate back and forth on YouTube into like what's better, you know, the color science, this and that. But I just got to a point where I was like, you know what, like, I need to see this for myself. And about a week ago, I purchased a Canon C70, which is actually what I'm shooting on right now. And so far, I've been loving the footage that has been coming off of this camera. It is just so easy to grade. Definitely the colors way better than FX3, A7S3. Now, when it comes to the A1, I feel like it's neck to neck. I actually really like the colors, maybe a little bit more off the A1, but there's just something about that look that a cinema grade camera will give you where there's just like this natural haze or this natural softness to the footage that looks really, really nice. And whereas when you're shooting with these other types of digital or mirrorless cameras, you get like this digital look, right? And a lot of times people put filters or what have you on them, but I feel like it's just, yeah, you just can't compare. And I guess I'll put a clip here of, you know, of a shot done with the A1 and another shot with the C70. And I go back and forth onto what I like, but so far I feel like the Canon is giving me a lot more of what I wanted because, you know, one of the biggest things that I was looking for in regards to a video camera was just something that had great colors, so it was easy to grade. Now, I know a lot of people say that you can get the colors from Canon on a Sony and vice versa. But for me, like, I am not a colorist. Like, I am not somebody who wants to be spending a lot of time color grading. And so for me, it's, you know, the more convenient it is, the faster I can get the colors that I want off the camera without having to do much editing, then the better, right? Number two was that I wanted something that was compact and run and gun. And so, but that still had like cinema quality or features, I would say. So for example, like the Sony A1, if I really wanted to work like, you know, like have some of the video features or cinema features that a typical cinema camera would have, right? I have to put a monitor on here. I have to get a cage on this. Even for audio, an audio interface, like I would still have to do something more, right? Whereas with the Canon C70, it's compact enough to run and gun. The LCD screen is great. It's a flip out screen, so that's been working amazing. I've been loving that. And I get false color on there. The Canon C70 has an audio interface because I do have LXLR microphones that I would want to leverage for what I'm doing. So it has that audio interface, and then the monitor has false color, and the best part is ND filters, internal ND filters, which has just been game changing. And then the last thing is just raw-like image quality. And so I wanted something that was going to shoot raw, but then again, I'm kind of glad that the C70 doesn't shoot raw just because of the fact that those file sizes are huge. I didn't want raw just for raw sake, right? I just wanted that dynamic range, and I feel like the C70 is perfect for that because it's shooting files that, you know, are a good size, but that also have that dynamic range due to that dual gain sensor that it has. So I've been really loving the footage coming off of that right now. So all of that to say that it kind of got me to a place where I said, well, you know what if I do sell the A1 and then get these cameras instead? So I have the video camera that I like, but then what about a stills camera, right? Which leads me to what the content that is in this box. So let's go ahead and check it out. All right, so we got a package from Lens Rentals. So I officially hired out a Canon, wait for it, R5, guys. We got the Canon R5. First impressions, it feels pretty good on the hand. I guess it does feel a little bit better than the A1. Let me see. Yeah, so it kind of gets to the point where like the pinky is just kind of falling a little bit off. So, you know, it's comfortable than some of the other ones like the A7S III, but I really think, yeah, this definitely does feel a little bit like the ergonomics on this are actually a little bit better. So I'm going to be testing out the R5. Let's see what else we got in here. So I'm also rented out a few lenses to see what I could potentially invest in. So we're going to be testing out, whoa, this thing is huge. I did not expect this. Guys. Okay, this is the 85 millimeter I believe it's a 1.2. I think it's a 1.2. This thing looks amazing. I don't know if you can see that. This thing, guys, like, it's huge. Like, it's so big and heavy. And I know everybody says like RF lenses are just really big, but honestly, I did not expect it to be this big, this wide. Like, it's really wide and it's really heavy. And I used to have the Canon EF lens back in the day, which actually I used to use Canon back in the day. I used to have a 60D, and then I used to have a 5D Mark II, and I had the 85 millimeter. Wow, I can't believe how big and thick this is. Like, this is insane. Like, I have the 50 G Master one, you know, the 50 millimeter G Master, and it's not. I thought this was big, and I don't know if you can tell the difference right there. Like, look at that. And then I really love the 85 millimeter focal range. Like, it's actually one of my favorites, but I don't know if I can be carrying this thing around like all the time. All right. Okay. Next is the 24 to 70. All right, so this is a little bit better. It's a little nicer. It's kind of like the 24 equivalent 2470 from G Master. So that feels really nice. And then last but not least, wow, I did not expect. Wow, man, these lenses are so heavy. Like, I know everybody says that they're heavy, but I didn't know what I was expecting. Like, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So this is the Sigma EF lens 20 millimeter 1.4. And basically I'm renting this because I want to use it on the C70 as like a wide angle lens. Right now I borrowed a lens from a friend of mine, 17 to 40 millimeter f4, but I really want something that has like a lens that's a little bit faster. So everybody was talking about, this lens being pretty good. So I want to try this out. My main worry about this is that when it starts focusing, that you can kind of hear it focusing. So we're gonna see how that goes. But anyway, so yeah, let's see how the R5 holds up. I'm gonna give you guys, I'll do another video kind of looking at, doing some comparisons between the R5 and the A1. And then I'll let you guys know what I thought about all these lenses and then which one I stuck with. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time.